Alright, so guys, yesterday we made these notes, or I made these notes on this question just to kind of give you an idea of where to start for these. I know that often you see a question and you can actually do it, but you don't know how to start, right? So what we spoke about yesterday is that this is a geometric series. They're telling you that it is a geometric series, so that means that we have a constant ratio. And in order to find the constant ratio, if you can't just find it by looking at the equation, or at the terms rather, you can always use this as like a backup plan. That the ratio is going to be term 3 over term 2, and that is also going to be the same as term 2 over term 1. So whatever terms you have and you can use there, you can use that formula to get the ratio. Alright, so for 2.1, I did write the first line, but I'm just going to write it here at the bottom as well. The question is asking us to calculate the value of x. Now, x is the first term. Now, guys, here, if we're looking at 90 and 81, that's not an easy ratio to get, hey? I'm worried that maybe you'll look at this and say, oh, that's nice, I'm subtracting 9. Right? But can you subtract 9 if it's a geometric series? No. Alright, so you have to use this ratio formula. Okay, so what we're going to do is, to get x, we're going to say term 2 over term 1 is 90 over x, and that will be equal to term 3 over term 2, 81 over 90. Now guys, there are different ways now in which you can go about actually solving this. If you want to, you can actually work out what 81 over 90 is. You can type that into the calculator. This is actually equal to 9 over 10. That is the ratio. Alright, so 90 over x is equal to 9 over 10. Now guys, if we just look at that, can we kind of see by inspection what x would have to be? 90 over what is the same as 9 over 10? 100, hey? So if we look at that, guys, we have a 90 and we have a 9. This works out quite nicely. This is just 10 times that, right? 9 times 10 will give you 90. So if you do the same thing with the 10 here, you will get 100. So you can do it by inspection like that, or if you want to, you can actually do the calculation, which is also fine. You can multiply the other side by x. So you can say I'm left with a 90 here, and that is equal to 9 over 10x. Right? To get that x out from underneath, or out from being in the denominator, you multiply the other side by it. And what must you then do with this 9 over 10 to get rid of it? Divide by it. Okay, so you're going to type into the calculator 90 divided by 9 over 10. And that will give you 100 as well. Okay, so you can do it in that slightly longer way. There's no problem. Alright, so x is 100. On the memo here, 1 mark for that, and 1 mark for your answer. 2 marks only for this one. Okay, next question, 2.2. It's there at the top. Show that the sum of the first n terms is this. Alright, now I'm just going to go back up to the question quickly. Remember we said yesterday that since this is a geometric series, if they're asking us about the sum, we need to use one of these two formulas. Right? Geometric has a ratio, so you look for the formulas with R, please. Okay, then we looked at the two options and we said, since we have to prove this thing here, this formula or equation, whatever, we're going to use the first formula for Sn. Because this one has a 1 minus 0,9 to the n. So we use the 1 minus r to the n formula. Now guys, our ratio, we said, is 9 over 10. That is 0,9, hey? Are we noticing that? So here, when we calculated this, when we simplified this, this is actually our r value, which is 0,9. So we actually already have r. Okay, we worked it out there. Term 3 divided by term 2 is the ratio 9 over 10, or 0,9. So that's what they're doing there. That's where they got that from. Okay, so I suggest let's just write down that formula again. So Sn is equal to a bracket 1 minus r to the power of n over 1 minus r. And now we're going to sub everything in. A is the first term, which we calculated, right? It's x, so that is 100. Bracket 1 minus. Now, the ratio you can write as 9 over 10, but since they are using 0,9 in the formula, let's do what they did as well. Okay, so let's also write our ratio as 0,9. And I'm just using the same brackets that they used as well, but you don't have to. You can use square brackets if you wanted to. Now, guys, is this what they asked me to prove? No. Okay, we don't have 100, and we also don't have that 1 minus 0,9. Guys, what is 1 minus 0,9? 0,1, hey? So I'm just going to rewrite this. You don't have to, but just so that we are not ever thinking, where did that come from? Guys, this is all one term, right? And I can take that number, 100, and I can divide it by 0,1. That is 1,000, right? So there we have it. When we actually do that simplification, when we say 100 divided by 0,1, I'm going to write it here on the side. When we do that, we are getting rid of that denominator, and we are also getting the 1,000 that they wanted us to have. So there we go. There we have our bracket, 1 minus 0,9 to the power of n. And that is what they asked us to show. Now, guys, here for this question, it's also 2 marks. You get 1 mark for getting that the ratio is 0,9. So if you've written that somewhere, then you get a mark for that. And then a mark for substituting into the correct formula. They don't actually give you a mark for this last line because it was given. But guys, if you don't write that last line, they're going to take off a mark. Okay, so please make sure that you do that. Whenever they ask you to show that something, that must be your last line. Okay, then very quickly, 2.3, also worth 2 marks. They are now asking us for the sum to infinity, which also on the formula sheet is a over 1 minus r. A is 100, and r is 0,9. So again, 1 minus 0,9 is 0,1. And again, 100 divided by 0,1 is 1,000. All right, that's it. So it was 1 mark for substituting into the formula, and again, a mark for the answer. And guys, all of this will be CA, right, in this last question. So if you got an incorrect value for x in the first question, because x is your A value, right? So this one will be CA from 1.1, well, 2.1, sorry. That's literally what we do in finals. We write on our own memos. Okay, for this one, CA from 2.1. So we know. Go look at what they got in 2.1 so that you can CA from there. And then obviously this will also be CA based on that number that you had there.